Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review of the latest episode of The Strain, Bad White. And I'm having a really weird feeling with this season of The Strain. It feels like, and even just getting into this episode, that it feels more cheaply made, and it kind of goes through kind of the story and also shots and everything. Maybe that's just because when I'm on demand it switches me to regular instead of HD, but I get the feeling that they just are kind of putting this one out because I didn't feel that there was as much cohesion in the first episode because we are dealing with this season being shortened than usual. It's now 10 episodes instead of about like 13 is what we were getting in the first couple seasons. And with how they were doing story-wise, it's just like you're taking certain detours and doing certain character things that you really don't have the time to do it with. So, with those in mind, it still was a pretty good episode, but there was just some weird writing that it was like, okay. So, we get to see the kind of fallout of what happened with the SEAL team pretty much getting completely ripped apart by the Master, and we saw Vasily sitting in a bar talking with the one pretty much survivor that they had. He's like, well, we're pulling out and going to try and save DC and all that. And that's another thing. We are told that this has grown in scope, this infection, but we're mainly just going to be continue to focusing on New York and not really showing any other ramifications because we're told that it's everywhere, but you don't get the pervasive feeling that it's everywhere. I mean, this has been going on for at least a couple weeks in the show's reality, and you would think more people would be panicking and the streets would be kind of complete and utter chaos with vampire kind of things walking around eating people. But you really don't get that. I mean, you get the sound effects that they're making, like, oh, things are blowing up, people are shooting other people, you're hearing screams and everything, but it's kind of like, oh, it's like a haunted house kind of thing, and that it's like you hear the sounds like, oh, I'm supposed to be scared of that, instead of like actually seeing you need to put like things to actually see with that kind of sound, rather than just the sound itself. And I don't mean you have to show a monster doing something, but even like the hint of a monster doing something down the street, and you're like, gotta really be careful. That's kind of more what we need. So, Vasily, we see him kind of getting over Dutch and all that, and hopefully his relationship with the police officer that he had kind of develops into something. Otherwise, again, we've got something that it's mainly used for bet, which is alright, but since we're kind of a shortened season, use it or lose it. So, he's going on with that. We then also get into one of the strange parts of this episode, which is the whole Dutch thing. And it's just, it took up a good chunk of the episode. It's good to check in on Dutch to see what she's doing and everything, but it felt like it didn't need to be there. It was already explaining things that we've already got to, because it showed her hooked up with some of her old hacker friends, and they're like, oh, look, we're restarting the world and all that, haha. And it's like, you guys have no idea what's going on, what the true ramifications of these things are. You're thinking, oh, we brought down the system, fuck the system kind of thing, and it's like, no. And it's weird because Dutch is like, understands the gravity and tries to communicate with these people, and it's like, okay. And then we get him going through a high rise to get food and all that, and pretty much almost everybody's wiped out. I'm like, this thing's been going on for a couple weeks. By this rationale, by showing these people like this, they should have been taken out pretty much in the first couple weeks when it really started exploding. It's like, how did they even survive this long without Dutch or someone teaching them how to handle them? Because two of them got taken out by Strigoi in the bedroom, and then one of them got infected. He's like, oh, we're okay. And they left her to die. It's like, these are really your friends? You left the main group for this crap? And then her going on and talking to him about it as she came back. She's like, this is my fair share, and showing that he was infected. He's like, what do I do? What do I do? Well, you're gonna have to cut his head off. I'm not gonna do it. And then she does it, and she's like, you're welcome. And they're like screaming and everything, because now that group's down to just two people. It's like, what was the point of this? I mean, we've already seen people acting stupid and dying because of the consequences. This could have even been shortened enough to Dutch with like a recording of these people going on or something, or not even used entirely. It just took up valuable space in the episode to do the main conflict with the Master. That really needs to be furthered. And we got some kind of motion on that going forward. We saw Ephraim kind of dealing with what he should do about Zack and the Acetolumin. And here's the thing that I didn't really feel worked. He went to Satrakian and Vasily and was like telling him about what was going on, and he didn't tell him about like, can you help me get my son back? That he didn't tell them any of this stuff, and they've been together for like 2 seasons fighting this threat. You would think they would trust each other at this point, but evidently the show's like, nah, he's got this and he's got to do it like that. And then we get another kind of wasted thing in that Quinlan is trying to figure out what F is after because he correctly deduces that F's there for more than just telling him about Nora being dead, Zack being captured, and being like, woe is me. And like, I know about betrayers and all that stuff. And then it gets back to the episode, back down later on in the episode when Satrakian and Vasily had left, and he makes a deal with F, like, okay, you get that book out of there, and we're gonna set up a trap for the Master, and I'm gonna kill him. And I'm like, you're talking about betraying stuff, and then you just set up with F a way to kill the Master. Now, granted, it's better than what they've been going through with Satrakian trying to pour through the lumen to find something to kill the Master. But granted, that's going to be a kind of long and arduous process because it's written in kind of religious text and kind of more metaphors, so you'd have to try and figure out what everything kind of means. So it's going to take a little while. But Quinlan, being the warrior is like, it doesn't matter what's in there. I've got the skills and abilities to kill the Master. And here's another thing. F is this biologist working on these things to kill Strigoi and possibly even probably work on a cure. You have a half-human, half-Strigoi person. Wouldn't you want to be like, hey, can I see kind of what you are, kind of learn more about you to see if maybe something within you could help us either eradicate these things or heal these people? That way you can get your wife back, kind of. Granted, you might not be able to have sex ever again because she's been genetically altered, but, you know, that kind of stuff is like, okay. I mean, I'm still liking Quinlan's character because he's like a badass warrior, and I like that they're building on the stuff that he's been around for so long, that he's been around since Roman times and seen all these things going on. I just really want them to unleash him and let him go at it. And we also saw that Eldridge Palmer is trying to replicate the Master's White in order to save himself and gain immortality, because that's how the episode began, showing these experiments with Strigoi blood, and he's been paying these people to do this, and it's not working. And he's pissed off, and the other people are like, no, this is wrong, leave. Icorus comes and does his little thing, and it's like, okay. And that's why Vasily and Satrakian leave their base of operations, is because Palmer set up a meet because he wanted the formula that Satrakian's been taking with the Strigoi blood. And he's like, if you give me that, I'll stop supporting the Master. And it's like, we don't really trust you, dude. You've screwed us over before. Ooh, I can do this, that, and the other. It's like, you've given them nothing. But then Vasily and Satrakian's like, well, maybe we could use this to our advantage at some point. So it's kind of leading there. And we also saw Zack and his mother. And Zack is getting pretty crafty. And this was a part of the episode that I liked because it showed his mother is kind of retaining the qualities of his mother, but yet still more Strigoi than anything. Because it's interesting. It's like the parasite takes and like changes you to where you recognize what the person used to do, but it's so foreign to you because you're more parasite now, the Strigoi, than the actual person. And she's trying to be like, I'll read to you, I made you food, and it's all kind of cool, but Zack's like, trying to figure out if I could get out of here. And he almost got eaten by his mother. But she was able to control herself and try and help him with his asthma attack. And then that's when the master shows up and, here's my wife, blah, blah, blah. And wherever they're at, the master's there as well. So it's kind of a bad thing for the master. I mean, it's smart to keep Zack under wraps, but if they ever found out where he was, they'd have a straight beeline for him. And it was just really strangely paced, and it's like, okay, we've only got a couple more, I know it's just started, but we've only got about 8 more episodes with this. And this was a real wheel spinner. It's like, okay, we kind of got some interesting stuff moving forward, but it's more like we didn't really get any momentum to the story. Everything that was done really didn't do anything. I was like, this is really weird. I just feel something off about this season at the moment. Hopefully it gets better as it goes on, but other than that, there were some nice core things, especially with Ephraim and Quillen and Zack and his mother, that I really like to see and kind of see go forward. So, those are my opinions on the episode. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also, like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.